Okay, so we got invited by Titleist to go do a private fitting. So the new TSR driver lineup is coming out, and I think they're gonna let me hit it, fit me into a driver. We'll compare it with my current driver, and then I guess we'll just get my overall feedback, but I'm giving you guys kind of a first look at the new Titleist TSR driver lineup. We're here today in Calgary at the Valley Ridge Golf Course. I'm so excited to get hitting these drivers. Let's go meet the guys at Titleist. What's up, golfers? We're here today at Valley Ridge Golf Course in Calgary, Alberta, and we got an exclusive fitting booked with Titleist. I have Ken and Max with Titleist. Max is gonna do a fitting for me, and Ken is gonna tell us a little about what we're gonna be looking at today.
Well, we are just in the late stages of the pre-launch of the new Titleist TSR metals. Really excited about it. Titleist has 2-year life cycle, so when we do launch product, it's a really big deal because we've had 2 years to develop something, you know, definitely better than what the previous product was. We've got right now the TSR2, TSR3 in both driver and fairway wood, and then the TSR4 in drivers, which is the little bit smaller club head with lower spin features. We've had incredible success in the first 10 weeks at the tour level, which is all pre-launch stuff. The first 3 weeks on tour, the player that was #1 in total driving statistic was playing TSR, which was pretty cool. And then the next 5 weeks, we won 4 events, including the Open Championship with Cam Smith and also the first playoff event. So really, you couldn't ask for a better start for the new product.
Awesome. I'm excited to hit it. Max is going to be our prime fitter today. He's going to look at my swing, look at my ball flight, get some stats, and I'm sure he'll put a lot of clubs in my hand.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good.
Okay, I'm going to warm up. We'll start hitting some balls. Let's do this. So this is the Cobra LTDX LS, 9-degree standard setup. Okay. The shaft is not the one that I was fit into. I was getting new tips on my other shaft. Okay. I was playing the LA Golf Blue. Okay. And then this Tensai was kind of just a stock option that I had with the Cobra, but I've been hitting it decent. Okay. So
any specific tipping on this one, or
this is not
standard?
tipped? No, this is just standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, he's just hitting a couple, getting loose with driver. Then we'll start to put together a baseline for him.
Okay, so I've got enough swings that I'm starting to feel warm. I'm gonna do some swings with my current driver to give Max kind of a baseline, and then he can, I assume, start fitting based on what he sees with my current driver. How many do you need, Max, for a good bench line?
No, let's probably see 5 here.
Okay. Probably the best of the bunch.
That's probably the best of the bunch there, yeah. So, tell me a little bit, Brandon. If you're gonna miss on the golf course, we saw one go left, one kind of a little heeling, one a little right.
Yeah.
Which side of the course are you gonna usually miss on, and is there a side that you're trying to take out, or what are you looking for in your dispersion?
Sure. Yeah. Usually my miss will be a flare to the right. Okay. I do get the rare one. I'd say 1 out of 10. I'll get that weird snappy pull, but for the most part, I usually want to miss to the right. But that's where I'm comfortable.
So if we start it down the left side and just make sure it peels, and if it over peels, that's not the end of the world.
Exactly.
Okay, sounds good. Let's get you started here.
Based on the in-shop date of September 23rd, we're still, you know, we're saying that they'll be delivered right around that in-shop date. So, and as the days advance, you know, we'll see. But we've already delivered the vast majority of our staff player drivers that we fit in the last 2 weeks. So they're literally taking orders, building and shipping within 2 to 3 days, and guys are seeing it in a week or less. So that's awesome. It's pretty incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We've come a long way in the COVID era.
Yeah, it was some challenges, and you know, some of it was just unavoidable. Really, it wasn't anybody's fault when all of a sudden you sell 220% of what your aggressive forecast was. You're going to run out of components. That's just the way it's going to go. Yeah. But we're getting back into a real good position now.
Good for you guys.
So I'm going to start you here in the TSR3 in a 9-degree.
Okay.
I've got the Tensei 1K Black extra stiff and a 65 gram there for you, and that's a 45-inch shaft.
Looks awesome. When I think of Titleist, like, they're clean.
Classic.
Right?
Yeah.
Classic and clean. There's nothing crazy going on the top. Black finish, TSI, or TSR? TSR now. I'm so used to saying TSI on the channel.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, let's give this guy a swing. I'm excited. Does TSR stand for anything?
it never really stands for anything specific. They usually have 3 or 4 or 5 different words that the R could mean, kind of thing. So, yeah.
Well, that held my line really good.
First impression of the feel here?
Feels really good. That first one was just an off swing, probably just looking at something new, unfamiliar, but those last two do feel really good.
Nice there.
Like that's controllable. I could take that 10 course.
Yeah, that's 3 in a row, kind of in that 335, 340.
Would this be a stock option for shaft?
It is,
eh?
Yeah.
It does feel really good.
Yeah. Kind of the latest iteration of the Tensei.
So the head, the TSR3, what are some characteristics of that head?
Yeah, so similar to TSI3, major changes from the TSI3. We've changed the variable face design, so the high toe and the low heel misses are coming off hotter and closer in dispersion in the spin. The other factor, we've changed the aerodynamics, so it's more aerodynamics, or better aerodynamics, I should say, for faster ball speeds created by the swing and off the face.
Okay. Would you recommend the TSR3 for the wide variety of golfers, or is it more of a players club, or who would you guess that this is the club for?
Typically we're fitting the TSR3 into guys that are hitting the center of the face relatively consistently. It's designed for that player that's striking out of the center and can repeat their contact pattern. The TSR2 is a little bit better for somebody that's maybe not as consistent with their contact pattern. Yeah. What I noticed with your contact pattern is it's just a little bit toey on average. It's pretty consistent, and it's just a little bit towards that toe. So I just moved the weight into the toe a little bit.
Okay.
And that's going to create that little bit of bias. We should see a little bit better ball speed, and it should help to see that miss on the right side instead of the left side.
That did feel solid and it didn't move. Maybe I can straighten my target. Even though the first one was a little left, it had no movement. Dead straight ball.
There you go. I would take that every time.
Max, you fixed me.
Wow.
I'm going to jump to the 10-degree head.
Okay.
Spin's coming out a little too low for what we'd like to see.
Okay.
So if we can give you a little bit more spin to keep it in the air, a little more controlled, that'll be good.
What are some of the main numbers you're looking for from the TrackMan?
I'm watching a lot of different factors. Ball speed, spin rate, launch angle, and then a little bit of the descent as well, making sure that it's not coming in too shallow or too steep. And then aside from that, I'm looking at a lot of club data to make sure that I'm not misreading a number based on a strike that's maybe not quite your usual strike. So kind of watching the patterns there.
You guys have a low spin head?
We do, yeah. That would be that TSR4, which is the slightly smaller head. So all of the heads are 460 except for TSR4, which is about 430. That one we can put heavy weight forward right up behind the face, which really helps to reduce spin, both backspin and side spin. So it's not necessarily a club designed just for a better player. It's designed for a player that's quite spinny, which could be sort of any type of player based on how they come into the golf ball. So we don't sell a lot of them. We don't see a lot of them on tour because the tour players generally are, can really control their spin. And but it is a useful product for us for sure. Really does help the people that really need that spin reduction.
What's Cam Smith playing?
Cam's a 3. What we're seeing right now is, it looks to me about 70 to 75% of the tour players are playing the TSR3. Most of the remainder would be playing 2, and then maybe 5% are playing 4.
So this is the same setup, just bumped it up to a 10-degree head.
10 degree, okay. So why again, sorry, did you go from 9 to 10?
It was just coming out a little bit on the knuckly side. We want to keep the ball in the air a little bit better than what it was doing. We were sitting average was 1900 spins, so it was coming out just a little too low, losing a little bit of carry.
Nice ball. With now there being a live golf tour,
Yeah.
are the tour reps still going to a live event like they would a PGA Tour event?
It's a great question. I've been asked about live a fair bit just in the last couple of weeks. Obviously, it's in the news every day, and seems to be some controversy, between players and things. But as far as our company goes, I haven't heard any type of official statement on what's happening. I don't believe we have a team on the grounds at a live event right now. At the same time, if we've got players that are contracted Titleist staff players, we'll support them. Maybe that changes down the road based on when contracts come up for renewal. I really don't know. I don't think anybody really knows for sure yet what's happening, but it's still very early. But guys that are on that tour that are Titleist staff players, they're still Titleist staff players. We're still supporting them with product and whatever they need to keep them competitive.
Very cool. Yeah, 'cause I know there's a handful of guys that play Titleist or on lives. When we talked about Cam Smith, that was the first thing that I thought.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow.
Really, really good there.
It sounds really good too. I don't know if the microphone's picking it up, but it sounds consistent, and I can feel really good feedback across the face. I find that there's some competing drivers that you can't tell if it's a toe or a heel hit, but I know right away the feedback of this club head. So I really like that. Like definitely some toe-y strikes, which Max was saying, but ever since he changed that weight, I haven't had one really get away from me yet.
Let's see probably 2 more balls here, and then I'll tweak things up a little bit more.
Max knows what he's doing.
Just a little bit knuckly still on that slightly high contact one, hey?
That was probably my worst hit. Like that was, but it went straight. So if that's my miss, I'll take that as a miss.
Yeah. Nice to see that difference in the miss where it's not coming out so far left. Like that's just staying down that left edge of the fairway line. If we look at the dispersion, we're about, compared to the first drives of the day, that left miss is about 20 yards closer to the fairway, or in the center of the target there.
Oh wow.
So that's making some massive improvements. Just gonna change their surfeit setting here. First one. And that's still just falling on the right edge of the fairway there. That might still hit it. Yep. Really good.
So what's happening when you move this into a draw setting? What's happening to the head?
Our settings, we can move it upright or loft it up to create more of a draw bias. If we loft it down or make it flatter, that's going to create the fade bias. And so essentially, as you loft it up, if you take the face here, it's essentially taking it and plopping it like that. So every 3/4 of a degree we loft it up, it closes the club face about a degree.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. So that's what I do for the most part to create a draw bias if I need to.
I understand, okay. I wanted to see if I could just sling one.
There you go.
Really, really good. 2 swings and I can move it. So I like that. I like that playability, especially for where we play. If you need 1 or 2 draws, there's some heads I can't turn over to save my life. So already it took me 2 swings, and I can manipulate the ball how I was intending, which is awesome for a driver.
Perfect. So I've actually seen pretty much what I need to see here from this one.
Okay.
I really like the way this setup is coming out. I'm gonna try the TSR2 just to see what might come up.
Sure.
A little bit more forgiveness. We'll see if that helps. If not, we've got something that's working really well right now.
So Max, you've kept me in the same shaft through all of these changes. This is the shaft that you like for me.
Well, we're starting here. I keep things kind of consistent. I know that that's a shaft that's worked for you. So I'm just trying to dial in the head, and then afterwards we'll play around with a couple of shafts and see if there's anything that's going to work better for you.
Okay, so you start head, finish with shaft. I got you. This looks different.
That's
two.
the TSR2.
Is
Pretty
it-
major change in the shape of that head compared to the TSI2? It's a lot sleeker now. A little bit closer to what the TSI3 or the TSR3s look like.
Okay. I know they're both 460 heads, but as soon as I put it down, I don't know why, I just felt like it looked bigger or maybe a little wider at the back.
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger out the back for sure. Designed to get the CG deeper, make it a little bit more forgiving. Probably will spin slightly more, but the difference in spin between the two models is very close now compared to what it was 8 to 10 years ago. The striking thing, which Max mentioned, is when you put a TSR2 down next to a TSI2, you really notice how much smaller and sleeker the new R looks than the old I did.
Oh, really?
Even though it is bigger than the 3, it's noticeably smaller than the I2.
Is that the highest ball I've hit?
That one, let's take a look here. Based on the TrackMan data, that was just the ball being kind of a funny range
funky
ball here.
ball.
On the TrackMan, it says that was actually lower.
Oh, really? Okay. I like that flight.
Yeah.
Very good. What do you notice difference in feel?
It feels really solid. I don't feel a ton of difference between the two. I like the results. The results were close to the same. Kind of just a high butter cut. Feel-wise, I think they feel very similar.
Let's see maybe two more. Okay. Haven't seen you miss this yet, so that's, as much as that's great, it's always good, but not to say I'd want to see a miss, but I wouldn't mind seeing how it would perform on a miss. Talked you to that one, huh?
Mission accomplished. That one felt high on the face. It was probably the highest on the face I've hit it.
Very good.
Any preference between the two heads for you?
I think I visually prefer the look of the TR3, but I was getting good results with this. I'm sure the numbers would confirm otherwise. I don't know.
No, the numbers confirm they're actually performing pretty closely for you. Dispersion-wise, didn't notice a massive difference. You hit the 3 in our final setup really pretty well, and the misses stayed in really well for you. Typically, we see the 2 flies a little bit straighter, but sometimes can sacrifice a little bit ball speed for that straightness, but we're within a mile-an-hour ball speed on each, so. But if you're more comfortable with the 3, I really like the way the 3 came out for me.
Okay.
So we'll play around a few different things now that we've kind of got the head sorted out.
Is a fitting like this that I'm doing with Max open to any golfer, whether they're a private member or a public player?
Depends on the golf course. Here, for sure. I mean, they would advertise it to their membership and their database, which may have some non-members, and certainly most clubs allow non-members to come in and get fit. So definitely. The odd private club doesn't allow non-members unless it's maybe a guest of a member, but
Right.
For the most part, they're pretty free.
Cool.
We don't advertise a lot ourselves of our fit days. It's more the clubs are advertising. We do some events. We do Titleist Thursdays in the spring for usually about 10 weeks, right up till the end of June. And those are advertised right on our website, and consumers can go right in and book their own appointments for the Titleist Thursday events. So they're completely open to anybody, and it was important for us as a company about 4 or 5 years ago to have an outlet for consumers that aren't connected to a golf course to be able to get fit by us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's cool, because there's a lot of weekend warriors that watch the channel.
Yes.
And I think the perception is, oh, I have to be a member at a private golf course to get this type of experience.
Yeah.
But realistically, any one of you watching can get set up with Max at a course and get this one-on-one fitting. And it's not that I wouldn't trust a golf town, but the experience that I'm getting with Max is night and day. He's the expert. So this is pretty cool, and it's available to any one of you watching. Okay, Max, what are we doing?
I'd like to see you hit this one, and I'll fill you in on what we've changed in a second here.
Healy. Is it heavier?
It is a little bit heavier, yeah.
I feel like I'm working harder to bring this one around.
Okay. I will steal that one from you.
I'm a weakling, I haven't been in the gym in a while. Add some weight to it. What's going on?
It's amazing the difference a little bit of weight in the head can change just in how much the club, you feel the weight in the club.
Yeah. 2 grams of weight at the end of a 45-inch shaft, you really notice it.
Yeah. Ken, I like your shoes. Those are funky.
Thank you.
Are they golf shoes?
They are FootJoy MyJoy's teaching shoes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're spikeless.
They're spikeless, yeah. So I designed those myself on the FootJoy MyJoy's website.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. What do you think, Fee? You've seen me hit 1,000 balls. What do you see so far?
I really like the sound of it. The first one you hit was really good. So with the Cobra, the tensile was not really your shaft.
Not in the fitting.
Yeah. So I'd like to see some other shafts like
TSR3. Anything different here, Max? Or you're not going to tell me?
This one's a little lighter. You seem to have a feel for it.
I feel it right away. As soon as I pick it up, I can feel the weight gone. And you said it was only 2 grams that we put in it last time? Crazy. Let's start it right on my line and maybe a 5-yard cut. But if I could keep that ball flight, I would play that every single drive. That would be the ideal shot shape.
How does that weight feel for you?
It feels great.
Do you still feel the head?
Yep.
No issue there? Okay.
There's a miss hit for you.
That's a good miss.
So that felt high toey. I could see the ball mark on the face. And at impact, it felt like my club face was wide open. And it had pretty much the same characteristics of the ball flight of the one that I hit really well. So if that's my miss and has the same shot shape as the good hit, that's pretty revolutionary almost. Yeah, that feels really good. What's my carry, Max?
So that one came up a little shorter. You lost a couple miles of ball speed there. That one came up at 305 carry. So far with this one, the average is 312 carry.
312 carry. Keep in mind we're in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. The elevation here is about 3,300 feet. You guys are at sea level. You're like, there's no way that guy can carry 312. Well, elevation does play a bit of a factor. But if I'm getting 305 with my miss hits, like, pff, come on. That one I felt like I stepped into a little bit. I try to stomp on one. Do you ever get someone to swing at their max swing speed in a fitting?
Depending on the player, if they're a player that's going to pull that swing out on the course, we'll see it. But I like to mostly fit with the swing that you're going to pull out on the course and trust on the course.
Do you want any more of this?
We'll see one more just for the average.
I want to step into one just to see what I can get.
foot stomp.
Like that.
That's all we need. Stayed straight. There was no cut.
Beautiful.
So my max swing, my foot stomp, it was a rope. Gave me those numbers.
Ball speed jumped to 179. Spin jumped a little bit to 26 on that one. Club speed jumped up to 122, 123 in there. Still a little bit low toe on that one, on the contact.
Low toey miss. What was the carry?
Low 324.
There you go. So if you want to bust out the long drive swing in that tournament to win probably a gift card to the pro shop or whatever they have on the line, the max swing's holding up. That felt really good.
Let's play around some shots. Cool. So right away when I put that lighter club or lighter weight in the head, swing speed jumped, ball speed jumped. Didn't see a noticeable difference in the dispersion. So it seems like that little bit lighter head's just a little bit easier for you to swing around and catch up.
Oh. Do these driver heads come with weights that you can do that yourself, or would you have to order it with the weight?
So we'll get the weight in that we're fitting you for. If you want to have additional weights to play around with yourself, you can always order a weight kit, but we'll get the one that's working best for you coming in with the driver.
What do you think?
It feels really good. Like, I've always been a Titleist player. Like the irons that I just switched, I had my 716 AP2s forever. Titleist has always been like a benchmark of some of the best quality. Even when I was in golf retail 15 years ago, everyone wanted to look at the Titleist stuff. So thank you guys for having me. This has been a really fun experience. But there's no guessing with Titleist. I know it's going to be good coming here. Like there's no question, and the product lives up to the expectation. Feels good, looks good. It's classic. Like those guys that don't want to see crazy colors jumping out and you're more of a traditionalist, so you want clean lines, these heads look awesome. They look really good. We haven't talked about the face yet. Is there anything new or different, or what's the technology behind these faces?
In terms of the face, we changed our variable face thickness design, and that's where those heel and toe strike improvements are coming from. The TSR3 is definitely focused on that player that's able to hit the center or consistently strike it in their impact location. So we're gearing this towards the guy that's going to hit it in the middle and optimize it out of the middle.
And looking at the face, it's not, I wouldn't call this milled, but it's not just a flat. I can feel something. What is this?
That's a laser etching, and it's just basically designed for appearance to give you, it frames the ball beautifully, really allows you to get set up, feel confident, and make a good swing. But it's just a laser etching to make it look like you've got a frame around the golf ball.
Okay, it does look really good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Max, tell me about the shaft, buddy. Yeah, so we got the Graphite Design Toure DIZ. One of my personal favorites here. I try to keep bias out of it, but sometimes it jumps in here with this one. Really gives you a nice kick out of the center, helps create a little bit higher ball flight for most players with a low spin.
The first hit just felt different. I'll just try to square it up here. It was Healy, so far my timing just hasn't been great. Okay, there it is. I knew I'd get there.
Just gonna put a different one in.
Sweet.
Feel different?
It definitely felt different. Like I could feel the weight. As soon as he put it in my hands, I could feel that shaft was heavier. That's why I asked if it was a 65 or 70. First two that I hit weren't on my line. The third was. I knew eventually I would come around and square it up, but I'm still leaning towards that stock option that he gave me off the get-go with the Tensai.
So what do you look for when you're like?
I'm a big feel guy, right? So if I can put it in my hands and I just waggle it and I can feel the weight, it's just one of those things in my head subconsciously. I'm like, okay, I quite like that weight. And when I take it back with those heavier heads and the heavier shaft, I can feel myself working harder to bring the club around. So far what Max has found is the lighter head and shaft combo. I've been swinging better and it's easier for me to come around. So again, I'm just a feel player, and that's something that you guys will know going through your fitting process. You'll know right away in the first couple of hits if you think this is right for you. That's why it's great to have a fitter like Max who has a million options that he can play around with it to get the exact combo that's right for you guys.
So let's try this one. This one's the new 4th gen hazardous.
Is this an upgrade as well?
No, it's
Stock option.
We've got it in the 60 gram extra stiff. That sounded really good.
Well, right away, first hit was a lot better with the 60 gram than the 70 gram.
Have you hit the hazardous in the past?
I don't know if I've hit the 4th gen. I've hit a bunch of hazardous. One of the shafts we played around with recently was the green hazardous, which was a good shaft for me in just whatever combo we were playing with. This doesn't have any colors, or is it a hazardous silver or black?
It's black.
Black. No, it feels really good. And it's lighter. This is 60.
This is 60.
We haven't gone 60 yet.
Really good.
Very similar characteristics as the Tensai.
Aside from it feeling a little bit lighter, how do you feel with this loading for you? Do you like the way this is loading?
Yeah, it feels really good. I feel like I can follow through with confidence. The other ones
stable.
The other ones I just felt like I was getting lost behind, turning it around. But it feels really good. Did you change anything with the head?
I'm keeping the head the same right now. Do you feel like you feel the head better here?
I'd say it's very similar to our original setup with the Tensai.
Okay, that's a great mix there.
Okay.
I'm gonna steal that from you.
So what do you see in that hazardous versus the Tensai that I'm thinking is kind of the benchmark right now?
In that hazardous, the way you loaded and released that, you picked up an extra couple miles of club speed.
Really?
And an extra couple miles of ball speed. So that was about, if I pull it up here, 76.
Yeah.
That was 3 miles faster than the ball speed with that shaft and the same head setup.
And it didn't feel faster, but I guess that's why it's so cool to hook up to a TrackMan and get some real live data.
And your dispersion was hardly different either. Let's try this one.
What's the shaft?
That's another version of the hazardous.
Dead straight.
Nice ball. Any difference in feel here?
Feels really good. I don't notice a drastic difference between all three. So I'm really just relying on you to tell me which is the best, because I would buy any one of these three.
Did that feel very controlled for you?
It did.
No
Like that last one felt like a mishit. Okay. So again, it felt kind of towy and open, but it held my line. So out of those three shafts, the 2 hazardous and the Tensai, I would be comfortable with any of those.
Okay. So the last 2 hazardous shafts were the same except for the length.
Okay.
This one was a ½ inch longer.
Oh, I didn't even notice it.
Yeah. You actually got better ball speed with the shorter shaft just because your contact was better.
Really?
Yeah, so the other one is the one I'd like to go for.
Okay.
And based on your gamer that we baseline at the beginning of the day, we are looking at a ball speed jump from 172 to 176. And yours, you averaged 333, and we are now at where is it here? 344.
Wow.
So 11 yards gain and better dispersion.
Crazy. Thanks for fitting me, Max. That was a really cool experience. We couldn't have got a better day. The range was awesome. Yeah. And it was cool to see just the differences. As soon as you put a heavier head in, I knew right away. The shafts, I didn't notice as much, but the head, big time. The head looks clean, feels good, and you saw it here that I gained yardage and ball speed. So thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure, Brandon. It was fun.
Okay guys, that wraps up our brand new Titleist TSR fitting. We're going with, tell the guys again what driver we're going with.
Yes, we're going with the TSR3 in a 10 degree. We've got it lofted down a little bit and flattened out a little bit to center its dispersion. And we've got a little bit lighter swing weight with the -2 gram setting in a 45-inch hazardous 6.5 4G shaft.
Well guys, thank you so much. Ken and Max, thank you so much. Hopefully you guys are excited to hit the new TSR lineup. I highly recommend it. Felt great, and you saw it here first. I picked up ball speed and distance. Looks clean, felt amazing. Thank you guys again so much, and thanks to Valley Ridge for hosting us. Thanks so much for all you subscribers. Make sure you like and hit subscribe at the end of this video. We'll check in with you next time. Thanks guys.